everyone, it's Martha. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. So I got a request a little while ago to start talking more about anime here on this channel, so I decided I would start off with a genre that I watch a lot, and that is the magical girl genre. I love magical girl anime. I can't get enough. I love to find new ones that I haven't seen, but today we are going to go over my top 5 magical girl anime. The criteria for this list kind of range. Some are for like nostalgia reasons, some are because they're just ridiculous, and then they're like the top 2 I think are like the big production anime, the big production things that I consider to be like top notch. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Number 5 on my list is an anime called Wedding Peach. Now, I was really into this in high school, but it had completely slipped my mind recently until a few days ago I got a message in my inbox from a viewer saying, "Hey, I heard you like magical girl anime. Why don't you check out this one called Wedding Peach?" And I'm like, oh my god, Wedding Peach! Like, flashbacks to little high school me on YouTube, like, when you would watch anime in parts on YouTube. Let me know if you're old enough to remember that, because I am. So, honestly, I think I stumbled across it randomly. I don't remember how exactly I discovered it, but basically, Wedding Peach is your standard 90s magical girl anime. There's a main character, her name is Momoko, she has pink hair, and basically, gosh, if I remember this correctly, she and her friends Yuri and Hinagiku are like, they're fighting for love and justice, of course, like all magical girls are, but the thing is that when they first transform, and they like somehow end up in these really tacky wedding dresses, and I'm just like, how are you gonna fight for that? Or like fight in the wedding dresses? Okay. And eventually they have to transform twice when they're fighting, because they get in the wedding dresses, they give their speech and the whole spiel, and then if they actually have to fight, they have to transform again, and they're like these warrior goddess kind of Greek inspired outfits with like breastplates and the whole deal. Because I think the whole premise is that they're supposed to be like reincarnations of the goddess of love, and the goddess of love is the power that they have, and it is out there, it is crazy, and oh god, it's so funny. And they're like, you know how Sailor Moon has Luna, and like Sakura and Cardcaptor Sakura has Keno-chan? These girls have this like fucking, oh god, how do I even describe him? He's like this blonde, bishi dude that just kind of comes down and bestows these powers on them, and it's so ridiculous. Like, honestly, Wedding Peach, I think, is the most ridiculous magical girl anime I have watched ever. In my YouTube searches, I found that Wedding Peach was apparently a really big thing in Germany. Like, I found the Wedding Peach opening theme in German and like little episodes in German. And I was just like, I wonder why it caught on in Germany, but it didn't in other places. If I have any German viewers watching, tell me if you remember Wedding Peach from your childhood, or if you remember like catching a glimpse on TV, just because I just thought it was kind of funny that it caught on over there. Number 4 on my list is Mermaid Melody, Peachy Peachy Peach. So this anime, it's another one that's mainly for nostalgia reasons, because I found this anime when I was first really getting into anime, because I got into manga first, and then when I was looking at actual anime series, I found this and I was like, oh my god, this is great, because it's like, they're mermaids, but they're on land and they can't tell anyone they're a mermaid, or else she'll turn into sea foam. It's the whole Little Mermaid premise, but there's 7 mermaids because there are 7 seas, and each like mermaid is a princess of like a sea, and it's really cool. And so the way these mermaids battle the forces of evil is by singing. So they do their transformation, they get their fancy frilly dresses, and then they have a microphone, and they start singing, and the villains are like, no! Like, it's hilarious. It's like, not because their singing is bad, their singing is pretty good as far as anime singing goes, but just like, it's supposed to be like the melody of love and goodness, and the villains can't take it, and it's so funny. But honestly, without Mermaid Melody, I wouldn't be into like J-pop and K-pop today, because those songs are what started me on the, you know, Japanese music, and it just kind of went from there. So Mermaid Melody just kind of holds a special place for me, not only because it's an anime that I really enjoyed when I was in, like, just starting high school, but it was an anime that kind of led me to discover other things that I really enjoy today. And I'm sure my mother can probably remember this anime because I would sing these songs so loud and my mom would be like, "Stop! Enough!" She was so sick and tired of hearing the Mermaid Melody songs, and I was just like, but I love them! Oh man, no, like, it's another ridiculous anime with a ridiculous premise, but it's just so fun, and the music is fun to sing along to, so if you enjoy lots of music in your anime, check out Mermaid Melody. Alright, number 3 on my list is Tokyo Mew Mew. Tokyo Mew Mew is just like, it's one of the quintessential magical girl anime that you kind of just have to watch if you're one of those people who's really into magical girls, because it always pops up. It's become one of those like cult classics that people just really enjoy, and I see like edits on Tumblr and like the cool cosplayers cosplay Tokyo Mew Mew, and everybody just like fucking loves Tokyo Mew Mew, and like I totally get it. I'm one of those people. So if you haven't watched it, Tokyo Mew Mew, the premise is actually really interesting. So the main character is a girl named Ichigo, and she's, you know, normal middle school girl, but she ends up going to an exhibit about red data animals, which are endangered animals. And so there are a couple of like high school scientists, like they're super rich and, oh god, they're so stupid, but they end up creating this sort of like a contraption that can combine somebody's DNA with the DNA of a red data animal and give the person the abilities of that animal. So somehow Ichigo ends up merged with, it was some sort of cat. I forget what exact endangered cat she got the abilities from, but she ended up that way. And she's supposed to fight against aliens who are out to take over the Earth from humans because they used to live on Earth and were driven out. No, details. But it's just, there ends up being 5 Mew Mews, later on 6, but that's continued in manga form and not anime, so I'm just gonna focus on the anime. But there's 5 Mew Mew girls, and they each have abilities of a certain endangered animal, and it is delightful. Like, oh man, like I remember sitting up late at night in front of the desktop PC, because that's the only computer we had in the house. But I remember sitting in front of that one computer that we had that was big and bulky and old, and I would sit there like huddled up in the computer chair just watching Tokyo Mew Mew late at night, because it was just, oh my god, I thought it was the best thing ever. It's a lot of fun. Out of this list, I think this one might have like the worst animation out of all of them. Like, it's like they put really hard work into certain sections of this anime, but then, like, the transformation sequences are beautiful, but like then there are some, it's like they kind of, I don't know, like they just kind of stopped putting effort into it. I mean, like, it's still better than anything I could do, but like you can tell there's like there's a few lapses in quality, which I think is kind of funny, but it's still a delightful anime. The premise is really interesting. You learn a lot about endangered animals, which is kind of cool that you get a little education with your magical girls, but it's just one that's very close to my heart, and I think it's close to a lot of other people's hearts as well. Alright, so number 2 on my list, I had a hard time picking between number 2 and number 1. But honestly, it came down to my own personal preference in what I enjoy in an anime series in general. So number 2 on my list is Sailor Moon, the original, not Crystal. So Sailor Moon, honestly, I remember as a child I was really into Pokemon. I wasn't really into magical girls much as a child. I was really into Pokemon, but Sailor Moon would always come on right before Pokemon. And my mom would record Pokemon for me on VHS tapes because it ran while I was at school. And I would always catch the ending theme song of Sailor Moon, but I had never heard anything else from it. And I was like, I like this song, it's catchy, and the animation's pretty, but I didn't end up looking into Sailor Moon until I was in high school because I had gotten into all this other anime, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what about that thing I saw when I was a kid? Because that was definitely anime. So then I looked into it and I was like, whoa! Like, I remember some bits and pieces of Sailor Moon as a child and I thought they were cool, but I wasn't really a hardcore fan until I got into high school. Sailor Moon is obviously going to be on anybody's list of favorite magical girl anime because, like, it is, like, the defining anime of the genre. It's not the first magical girl anime. You know, it may not even be the greatest, but Sailor Moon is the anime that defines the magical girl genre. Everybody knows what Sailor Moon is. Everybody knows that Sailor Moon is a magical girl, so whenever they think of the word magical girl, Sailor Moon immediately pops into your mind. Something that's had such a big impact on the genre and just the anime industry in general is going to be on this list. And of course, I really enjoyed the characters. I think the characters in this anime are what makes it so strong. Sometimes this series is not #1 because I think the pacing sucks sometimes. There were episodes where I was just like, why is this here? I don't understand. This is pointless. We could have moved on. Like, I mean, but it's still enjoyable because the characters are so good. They're so well thought out, and they each have their own very distinctive personalities that just combine together so well. And I'm talking both inner and outer senshi here. And honestly, I feel like these characters, especially Usagi, are incredibly relatable. Like, honestly, I think Usagi is one of the most relatable magical girls, if not the most relatable magical girl ever in the genre, because a lot of magical girl anime is just, you know, after the initial shock of, I'm a magical girl, I don't want to do this, after the first couple episodes, they immediately take to their role and, like, go fight like they've already had a whole bunch of training. But, like, Usagi's just like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to go back to normal. I didn't sign up for this. Like, she kind of, because if you were put into that situation with no training, no, like, you wouldn't be able to adapt as quickly as other magical girls would. And I think Usagi is very realistic in that standpoint. Yeah, the crying can get a little annoying sometimes, but, you know I'd be crying if I had to fight terrible things from the Negaverse with no training and there's like a fucking cat telling me how to fight, you know? And just the way she handles things later on in the series, you know, she isn't a completely selfless magical girl like a lot of magical girls are, and that's so relatable. There are moments where she's like, I don't want to fight, I'm scared, I'm angry, you know, she puts her emotions out there in the open and is completely vulnerable, and I think that's what makes her so interesting as a character, and I think that's why Sailor Moon did so well, is because Usagi's character is just, she is so human and just so wonderful. So yeah, Sailor Moon will always hold a special place in my heart, and as far as magical girls go, Usagi will always be #1. But the anime itself is not my favorite anime, even though Usagi is my favorite magical girl. So, #1 on my list of magical girl anime is Cardcaptor Sakura. Martha, you're so connected with Usagi, why isn't Sailor Moon your favorite anime? Like I said before, the pacing sucks. Like, I love Usagi, and I could talk about Usagi for hours, but sometimes I just want to skip through some of the anime because I'm just like, can we pick up the pace here? Can we, like, just get the story handled out here? And even in Sailor Moon Crystal, like, sometimes I'm just like, the old anime had too much and Sailor Moon Crystal has too little, and I'm just like, there is, okay. But Cardcaptor Sakura, I think, has the best pacing and the best, like, written story out of all magical girl anime, and that is why it's my #1. Of course, I love Sakura, she's so cute, and she's also very human, but, I think the pacing and the writing is what sets this anime apart from all other magical girl anime. There are no filler episodes in this anime at all, and it is beautiful. Every episode contributes to the story. Every episode has something very interesting and riveting about it, and this, it's just so well written, and it's like, it's not too long, because my personal preference, I prefer the stories to be kind of nicely put into 1 or 2 arcs. I don't need like fucking 5 or 21 like some animes, but like, it's just, it was so nicely done and nicely written, and it was a good length for what it was. It had, what was it, 2 or 3 seasons? But it wasn't too much. It was something that I could like marathon without getting sick of. Because sometimes, like, when I'm watching Sailor Moon, I have to take a break for a while, like for at least a week or so, maybe more, because I'm just like, okay, I've had enough. Like, this is, I need some time to breathe. But for Cardcaptor Sakura, I could just go. Like, I remember watching the English dubbed version as a child, and I thought it was cool. But then I watched the actual Japanese version, and I marathoned that shit in like a month. Like, from a couple weeks before like finals one year and like through winter break, I just marathoned that shit because it was just so well done, and I could just sit there and watch it all the fucking time. Like, it's just, I know I've said this a billion times, but it's just, oh, it was so well done. I love it. And also, just like the fact that they put so much effort into the animation, and she fights in a different outfit every episode, and I'm just like, yes! Like, there's no stock transformation sequence in Cardcaptor Sakura, or at least for the most part, because she fights in a different costume every episode, because Tomoyo is wonderful and wants her to wear all the things, and it's great. So just the effort that they put into all of the animation, and it is top quality, people. It's a great series. If you haven't watched it, god damn it, turn off this video and go watch it, because oh man. I know I mentioned Cardcaptor Sakura in a favorites video a while back, but I just had to reiterate how great it was. So, those are my 5 top magical girl anime. I could make a list of my top 5 magical girl characters. If you would enjoy that, if you would like that, please give this video a thumbs up, and just give it a thumbs up if you like this video in general. Also, please hit that red button down below and subscribe for a new video every Monday and Friday.